Hi friends, welcome to Interactive Medicine. In this section, we are going to discuss about the drugs for Parkinson disease. So we are continuing our Crop 1 series. So Parkinson disease is a brain disorder that leads to shaking, stiffness, and difficulty with walking, balance, and coordination. Parkinson's symptoms usually begin gradually and get worse over time. As the disease progresses, people may have difficulty in walking and talking, etc. Parkinson's disease is a neurological disorder result in a progressive loss of coordination and movement. Neurons responsible for coordination and movement are located in part of our brain known as striatum. Here we can see, and it receives information from two major sources, that is neocortex. This is neocortex, and second one is from the substantia nigra or black substance. Here neocortex receives sensory information as well as plan for the future action, and substantia nigra sends the dopamine to the striatum and coordinates all of the inputs. So we can see in this diagram. Okay, here is our substantia nigra. This is striatum. So here we have dopamine neuron, dopaminergic neuron. So in dopaminergic neuron, in pa, in no, it normally we have dopaminergic neuron. It is sends signal to the striatum, and we have GABA. In normally what happen done, it inhibits the striatum. So what I am saying that in Parkinson disease, the neurons which sends the dopamine to striatum from substantia nigra progressively degenerate. This dopaminergic nerves progressively gets degenerate. So in normally, dopaminergic neuron originates from substantia nigra, exert an inhibitory effect on the striatum by stimulate GABAergic neuron action. In pathology, too low level of too much low level of dopamine too much low level of dopamine promotes increased increased production of GABA, which leads to the inhibition of thalamus and reduced excitatory input to motor cortex. In addition to that, the same dopaminergic neurons also exert inhibitory effects on the excitatory cholinergic neurons in the striatum. Without sufficient level of dopamine, there is an increased production of acetylcholine occurs, which triggers a chain of abnormal signaling lead to impaired mobility. Imbalance between inhibitory and excitatory signal leads to typical clinical symptoms like resting tremor, rigidity, postural instability, slowed movement, etc. We can see in this patient reduced arm swinging, stooped posture, masked facial expression, rigidity, flexed elbow and wrist, slightly flexed hips and knees, snuffing, short-stepped gait, trembling of extremities, forward tilt of trunks, etc. So the treatment aims that the replenishment of dopamine and blocks the excitatory action of acetylcholine. Okay, first I'm going to discuss the drugs which are replenishing the dopamine. So first I want to say substantia nigra is a part of basal ganglia. It produces the dopamine. Dopamine plays a control role in the dopamine plays a key role in the control of movements via signal it sends to the striatum. A healthy balance of dopamine enables precision of movement. Due to degeneration of these neurons, less dopamine is produced. So we need to replenish the dopamine. This is the treatment. And in normally the dopaminergic system, this is a presynaptic neuron, and the dopamine is produced from tyrosine. Tyrosine converted into L-dopa. It is converted into dopamine. So dopamine stores into synaptic vesicles. So it is secreted by physiological stimuli into the synaptic cleft, and it can bind with the dopaminergic receptors, and it leads to signal transduction. If excessive dopamine is present in the synaptic cleft, it can be either returned back to presynaptic neuron through the dopamine transporter, or it may degrade it, or it undergo in it metabolize into various chemical products, and by using enzyme monoamine oxidase B and catechol O methyltransferase. The tyrosine is converted into L-dopa by using tyrosine hydroxylase enzyme. L-dopa is converted into dopamine by using dopa decarboxylase enzyme. Also from the dopa, another catecholamines can be synthesized, that is norepinephrine, epinephrine, etc. So we know the famous drug, most common using drug, that is levodopa. Levodopa acts as a precursor of dopamine. So levodopa can enter easily into central nervous system, but the dopamine can't enter into central nervous system normally because of the blood-brain barrier. But if levodopa can enter into central nervous system without degradation, there is two additional drugs we need to use, that is carbidopa and entacapone. So why we use these drugs? Because in periphery we have two enzymes. This is catechol or methyltransferase, and this is decarboxylase or dopamine decarboxylase. So in periphery, when we introduce levodopa, it can get into a it can be degraded by either dopamine decarboxylase enzyme or catechol methyltransferase enzyme. If it is undergo dopamine decarboxylase enzyme, the product will be dopamine, and it can't get into blood-brain barrier, and levodopa can interfere with catechol or methyltransferase and get it into a product 3 or methyl dopa. It is we don't need this metabolic product because our aim is to form dopamine in central nervous system. So we need to inhibit these two enzymes. So dopamine decarboxylase enzyme is inhibited by carbidopa and catechol or methyl transferase is inhibited by entacapone. So this time levodopa is able to enter blood-brain barrier without any difficulties. So the treatment for Parkinson disease is a combination of levodopa, entacapone, and carbidopa. So the adverse effect of levodopa and carbidopa is nausea, loss of appetite, hypotension, mental disturbances, discoloration of urine, sweat, and saliva. Okay, I already said that we have dopamine in synaptic cleft. So if we are able to inhibit these enzymes, what are these enzymes? Monoamine oxidase and catechol or methyl transferase. If we are able to inhibit these enzymes, so the degradation of dopamine is not possible. So we get enough dopamine for signal transduction. If we are analyze this reaction, the dopamine can undergo degradation through catechol or methyl transferase enzyme. The final product is 3-methoxythyramine, and dopamine can undergo monoamine oxidase into a product dihydroxyphenyl acetic acid. The reaction is oxidative deamination, that is the removal of ammonia. 2 hydrogen NH2 from here and a 1 hydrogen from here gets ammonia. The ammonia become removed and it becomes oxidized, that is monoamine oxidase. By using enzyme monoamine oxidase, we get a product named DOPAC or dihydroxyphenyl acetic acid. The reaction is oxidative deamination. So if we are able to block this enzyme, so the degradation of dopamine will not occur. The drugs we use in this step is rosagiline and selagiline. The adverse effect of these drugs are nausea, dyskinesia, insomnia, visual hallucinations. And we have another drug known as tolcapone, which have hepatotoxic effect, but we can prescribe this effect because this drug can enter into central nervous system. It is more penetrative than entacapone, so it can bind or it can inhibit catechol or methyl transferase. So degradation of dopamine will not take place. So we get enough dopamine for the signal transduction. So adverse effect of entacapone and tolcapone is discoloration of urine, sweat and saliva, and diarrhea. So we have another types of drugs. In this case, we already thought that Parkinson is a progressive disorder, so neuron cells will decrease by the time, and less number of neurons which produce enough of there is no enough dopamine. That is the condition in Parkinson disease by over time. So we need to administer artificial dopamine for example, dopamine mimetic drugs. The common drug is bromocriptine and famous here is bromocriptine and ropinirole, pramipexole, rotigotine, apomorphine. So the adverse effects of these drugs include nausea, hypotension, mental disturbance, daytime sleep, and bromocriptine have another side effect also, that is pulmonary and cardiac fibrosis. Okay, in the first section we already studied that the Parkinson's disease is the imbalance between excitatory and inhibitory signals. So in excitatory signals there is high amount of acetylcholine will produce. So we introduce anti-muscarinic drugs, for example, benztropine, piperidine, proclidine, trihexylphenidine. Adverse effect of anti-muscarinic drugs include urinary retention, dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision. We have another specific drug, that is amantadine. Its mechanism of action is not well understood, but scientists thought that it prevents dopamine uptake, facilitates presynaptic dopamine release, blocks glutamate and NMDA receptors. These are the receptors where the glutamate and the ion channel protein receptor that is activated when glycine and glutamate bind to it. Its full form is N-methyl D-aspartate receptor. So finally we are getting to our questions. First question, this question is asked in 2016 and 18. Monoamine oxidase inhibitors are widely used as psychopharmacological drugs. They change the level of nearly all transmitters in synapses, with the following neurotransmitter being the exception. So they are asking monooxidase inhibitors are widely used drugs. So they are asking monoamine oxidase. We already thought that catecholamines are degraded by the enzyme monoamine oxidase. What are the examples for catecholamine? Noradrenaline, adrenaline, dopa, serotonin. That's I showed here. From the dopamine we get norepinephrine, from the norepinephrine we get epinephrine. Exception. It is known that catecholamine metabolism, a special role belongs to monoamine oxidase. This enzyme inactivates mediators noradrenaline, adrenaline, dopamine by oxidative deamination. I showed this one. So dopamine and also other catecholamines can be degraded into some product. For example, in dopamine we get dihydrophenyl acetic acid by the process oxidative deamination. This question is asked in 2016 and 2013. It is known that the monoamine oxidase enzyme play an important role in metabolism of catecholamine neurotransmitters. In what way does the enzyme indicate these neurotransmitters? That is the answer, oxidative deamination. A 66-year-old patient with Parkinson's disease showed an improvement in locomotor activity after prolonged use of certain drug, which is converted to dopamine by decarboxylation. What drug has to be taken? So answer is levodopa. Naloxone is an antidote for morphine, and salazar is a cyclooxygenase 2 specific selective enzyme non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, and is an anti-dopaminergic drug used as a anti-emetic effect and antipsychotic effect. Chlorpromazine, it is a postsynaptic D2 blocker, dopamine receptor 2 blocker. It blocks D2 receptor, so it is used as antipsychotic drug. Antipsychotic drug. Chlorpromazine. Droperidol is antiemetic and antipsychotic drug. It is also anti-dopaminergic drug. A patient with Parkinsonism prescribed levodopa, which led to the rapid improvement of the patient's condition. What is the mechanism of action of this drug? Levodopa is converted into dopa. So it stimulates the synthesis of dopamine. A 64-year-old man presents with a tremor in his legs and arms. He says he has had the tremor for many years, but it has worsened in the last year. We already said that Parkinson's disease is a progressive disorder. The tremor is more prominent at rest and nearly disappears at movement. His daughter mentioned that this movement have become slower. The patient is affected and vital signs are within normal limits. On physical examination, the patient is hunched over and his face is expressionless throughout examination. There is a pill rolling resting tremor that is accentuated when the patient is asked to clench the contralateral hand and alleviated by finger-nose twisting. When asked to walk across the room, the patient has difficulty taking the first step, has a stooped posture, takes short, rapid shuffling steps. A doctor initiates pharmacotherapy and drug a first line, that is levodopa. So they are asking that most likely mechanism of action of this drug. So this question is asked in 2019. So some pattern of these questions are like the clinical based question, but this is a simple question. The action of mechanism of levodopa, that is the question, but they mention all the clinical scenario. So we need to take care of this question, because it may be confused sometimes, because when we read from the first to last, it may confuse us, or it may become depressed us. So we need to practice more questions, then only we can answer these types of questions. So but the question concept is very simple. The action of mechanism of levodopa. Okay, it is a mechanism is stimulation of dopamine synthesis. Levodopa is a precursor of dopamine. Okay guys, uh, I think I think this video is helpful for you, and if you like this video, please make a thumbs up and share to your friends. Thank you guys, have a nice day.